and right now I'm going to be doing a movie review on The Zookeeper's Wife. I was asked by the people over at Focus Features if I wanted to see this movie because it is a book and it's set during World War II, which is my favorite time period to really watch and read about. I had seen the trailer and I was like, already before I was contacted by Focus Features, I was like, I'm definitely gonna see that movie because just the trailer alone made me bawl my eyes out. So I was really excited either way of going to go see the movie. They also did send me the book, which is a very famous novel. I have not read it. I have looked at the pictures in this, which are really cool to see after seeing the movie and seeing like the real thing. But I will definitely read this. I know that I watched the movie before I'm going to read the book, but I did that with the Mortal Instruments, and it's one of my favorite series. Definitely probably going to be things in here that weren't in the movie, so I could see the difference of that. But anyway, I was so excited when Focus Features asked me to go and review this. I went with my best friend, and we went and saw it, and it was just so good. I'm just going to say right off the bat that it was so good, but so freaking sad. Getting on to what the book and the movie are about, it's set in Poland at the beginning of the war in 1939, and we follow the couple, Antonia and her husband Jan and their son. They live on the Warsaw Zoo. They're the zookeepers, and basically that is their life. Their life revolves around these animals. They're super precious to them. The animals are their family. So in the movie, Antonia, she doesn't really know how bad the war is getting, but her husband Jan has an inkling that they shouldn't stay there, that Antonia and their son should go and flee to another country and just get away from Poland. But Antonia doesn't want to leave the animals, so she decides to stay, and her husband relents and is just trying to really make her happy. One day Antonia is on the porch and Nazis invade Poland. They're bombing, and in doing so, it kills a lot of the animals, and so she packs up her bag and she packs up some of her son's stuff, and they go to the train station where they meet up with her husband, and he decides to just go back home because there's really nothing they could do. The trains were out of commission, they couldn't go anywhere, so they had no other places to go. When they get back to the zoo, they find out that Nazis have pretty much invaded their zoo because Hitler's main zookeeper, I'm pretty sure his name is Lutz, and he's played by that Daniel, I forget his last name, I'll blink it or something, but he's very notorious for playing the villains in movies set during World War II, because I believe he's German. I believe he's a German actor, but he plays a villain perfectly. I hate him, but he plays them perfectly. Anyway, Lutz is sent there to pretty much get their finest animals, at least like the finest animals that are alive, and to send them to Berlin to go into this breeding program, and they want to find the purest breed of animals, sort of like Hitler's regime is trying to find the purest humans and trying to eradicate the sickness, which is the Jews, which is not true. That's just how they think, which is horrible. And Antonia and her husband have they can't say no, because if they said no, they'd just kill them and use their animals whether they liked it or not, so they kind of just have to go along with this. And while you're watching the movie, you just feel this burden, this like heavy feeling, because they can't do anything, and having to wake up and looking outside their window and just seeing soldiers with guns, and it's just so horrible, and they have their son there, and either they're damned if they do or they're damned if they don't, so there's nothing they can do. And you totally got that feeling while watching the movie of just helplessness. Then Antonia's husband starts to talk about how he's going out and he's seeing all these kids and the Jews and how they're being horribly treated and sent to the Warsaw Ghetto, where it's so much worse than he thought. And so he wants to do something to help in any way that he can. So Antonia and him come up with this plan to where they're going to have like a pig farm. They're going to have a pig farm on their zoo, and they talk to Lutz about it, who is the German zoologist, and they say that they're going to have this pig farm so they could kind of, get some money going to their zoo, and also they could feed the Germans that are staying at their, area. And Lutz thinks it's a really good idea, and so that's what they do. And in order to have these pigs, they need to find feed for it. So they find feed at the Warsaw Ghetto. So Antonia's husband drives over there, every week or so to get feed. It's basically just scraps. And so what he does is he has the people go into his truck, and they just pour the scraps of food over them, so when they leave and the Nazis look into their truck, all they see is feed. And throughout the movie, the people that stay, either they stay for just a couple of nights and then they sneak them out, or they stay for the entire period. And there's this little girl that he saves because she's in a horrible circumstance. He doesn't really think about it. He just is like, get in the truck. She stays for the entire time, and she was my favorite character. She was really, really strong. And during this long period of time, Lutz is always at the zoo pretty much because he's watching over his animals, and also he takes a liking into Antonia, which she hates that, but she can't, you know, raise his suspicions anymore, so she kind of has to relent to his romantic advancements, kind of, and she hates that, and her husband hates that. But they pretty much are trying to do anything to make him not be suspicious. Jessica Chastain, who plays Antonia, was amazing. Like, she made me have chills, and her husband, the guy that played him, I don't know his name, but I'll link it. I'll have a photo or something. He was amazing, and just the entire cast was great. Seeing that this was a true story just made this movie so much more intense because, you know, question it like, hey, yeah, where did all those animals go during this time, during World War II? Like, where could they go? They didn't have anywhere to go. It was literally a war zone. And this movie had so many elements of sadness. There was the sadness with the animals, and then just the sadness with how this family is extremely oppressed. They have no say in what's happening with their life's work, which is this zoo that they put everything into, and they can't say or do anything. Pretty much all of their animals get killed, and that's not a spoiler. It's like in the back of the book and in the trailer, but it's just so horrible. And to watch movies like this, it's so sad, but it's so necessary, and there's a lot of happy parts in it too, which added relief to it, and there was some comedy which I liked, but it was just such a beautiful movie. That's all I'm going to say about what the movie and the book is about. I'm going to get more further into like the scenes that I really enjoyed or just that I felt in my heart. So if you do not want to be spoiled kind of in any way, I would say do not watch the rest of the video. So the beginning scene where Antonia is going into the farm and that ostrich kind of follows her, it set the mood where the animals were her family, and that was just such a good opening scene because it's like, yeah, this huge ostrich is just following this woman on a bike, and she's like, hey, let's go get some exercise. And then she goes and she helps her husband like shuck the hay into the truck, and it just showed this really awesome dynamic that they had in living on the zoo and how much love was there. Another scene that I really loved was when she saved the baby elephant, when the mom had him and the elephant was being strangled by I think there was like stuff in the trunk of it, but she was trying to help the elephant, but the mom didn't know that quite, and so she was trying to move Antonia away from her baby, but all Antonia was trying to do was help, and so eventually she got the animal to start breathing again. That scene was so good. Another scene that made my heart just like stop was when Lutz came over to the house and Antonia and Jen's son was there. This is kind of when Lutz starts having suspicions, like, who is his family? Are they harboring any Jews? And so the son is terrified, sitting there trying to kind of lie, and Lutz is like, where's your parents? And he like tells them, and then Lutz kind of relents. He knows he's lying, but he just leaves, and then the son goes, Hitler is kaput, and that's kind of what really triggered Lutz into being like, hey, yeah, there's definitely something going on here. I was like rooting for him. I was rooting for the little boy, but also, God, why did he say that when he could hear that? Also, another scene that set foreshadowing on kind of how Lutz was going to find out that they were for sure hiding Jews in the cellar type basement thing. And that was when they bring over the little girl, I believe her name was like Ursula or something, I forget, but they bring her, and she's just kind of, she does not want to talk. She's so frightened due to what had happened to her, and rightfully so, but she's just like, she doesn't really have any outlet other than Antonia gives her a bunny, which was really cute, but she starts to use the paints and the chalk to draw on the walls. She starts to draw a bunch of the Stars of David and her friends that are down there with her, and I was like, yes, it's cute, but don't do it because it's gonna show people that you're there. But you know, that's also awesome to show people that they're there, and that happened when Lutz goes down there at the end of the movie and he sees all these stars, and it's also a really awesome moment because he sees that Antonia and her husband just fooled him, and the answer was literally right under his nose, and I thought that was really cool. But it was just a scene where you're just extremely anxious and you're like, ah. I absolutely love this movie. It is a movie that is so sad because, again, it has so many elements of sadness, from just these animals being killed, to this family being oppressed, to these poor innocent people being taken away because of their beliefs and being killed and tortured, and it's just horrible. But through all of this, this family is helping save all these people. They ended up saving over 300 people, I believe, and all of them lived except for 2, I'm pretty sure. Which is so successful in terms of numbers, because I watched this this documentary a while back on this camp called Sobibor, and it was the biggest breakout of a concentration camp, and over 300 people escaped, but I believe only like 6 ended up living. It was the biggest mass escape of a concentration camp, but only like so little ended up living, so saving over 300 people is insane. I'd give this movie a 5 out of 5 stars. It's really, like, I totally understand if people don't want to see these types of movies because they are sad. Like, I always feel that. I have to be in a certain mood to see sad movies. Also, that draw to these movies, because this is a true story. This happened, and it's necessary for you to see, because if no one's gonna write about it, if no one's gonna make movies about it, people are gonna forget it happened. So I think that you should all do yourselves a favor and go see this. Not only is it just a beautiful story, it's a history lesson, and it's just a good thing for you to reflect on as a person, and just to question people. So again, thank you so much, Focus Features, for inviting me to go see this movie. I adored it, and I hope all of you go see this, because again, it's just, you gotta go see this movie. It's amazing. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.